Happy Historic Marker Monday, everybody. I am Michele with Fun in Key West, and today's stop is the Cosgrove House, better known as the Banyan Resort. But let's back up to when it was actually the Cosgrove House. So, this original house, not all the complex that you see today at the Banyan Resort, was built in 1850. And when you start to look back through all of the history of this house, you're going to figure out why you are just drawn to this location. It's on Whitehead Street, and so thus it was originally owned by John Whitehead. He's one of the Key West founding fathers, and you can see a lot of his influence in Key West. And it was a prime location back in 1850 because the deep seaport used to be right there. And remember, we've filled everything in as the years have gone by, but it used to be right next to the deep water port. So it was a strategic location right in the heart of the city. And then in 1871, Captain Philip Cosgrove bought the house for $1,600, which back then was a sizable investment. I did a little bit of calculation, and I don't know if Google's right or wrong, but in today's dollars, that would be about $60,000. I'm still thinking that is one heck of a deal on real estate in Key West. Actually, it's probably a heck of a deal anywhere in the country on real estate. But the Cosgroves acquired the property back in 1871, and it stayed in the Cosgrove family until 1947. That beautiful banyan tree that you see outside of that property today was the result of Captain Cosgrove's wife, Myrtle. She fell in love with the idea of a banyan tree, thought it would provide beautiful shade in the Florida sun for her home. And so it was planted in the early 1900s. And banyan trees, they grow, they drop. I don't know what the exact wording is, but they drop their feeders, their tendrils down, and that's how they grow and how they expand. I believe, and if I'm wrong, let me know, I don't think you're allowed to plant a banyan tree in Key West anymore because they just take up so much space. And what's interesting though, I did a tour, and you can thank her for the idea of these ways that Key West homes are able to gather and get rainwater. She put in a cistern system on the property so that it could feed her beautiful and lush garden. So over time, much like some of the other homes in Key West, the area around the Cosgrove house it grew, and it became part of 7 other homes, which you see today as part of the Banyan Resort. So these homes were acquired or built along the way. And these have all been beautifully restored and are able to show off the true spirit of what I call Key West architecture. It's a little bit of here, it's a little bit of there, and it comes together in a very nice complementary blend, which I call Key West architecture. I know it's not that official name, but that's what I call it. If you do a Key West ghost tour and you have an opportunity to do the walking tour, you usually have a stop at the Banyan Resort because it is alluded to be haunted. Captain Cosgrove is said to have roamed, has not has said to be, but people have seen him wander the grounds and maybe looking after things and checking things out. Whenever I took one of the ghost tours, they said that guests of the Banyan Resort can hear kids laughing and playing. And there's supposedly a little girl known to take the chocolates that have been left on the pillows. If you have had an experience at the Banyan Resort, let me know. I would love to hear all about it. The Cosgrove House is now part of the Banyan Resort. So again, there's 7 other homes that have now come together to be what is known as the Banyan Resort. You can walk through there and experience the grounds, see the banyan tree, and really explore what it was like back in the 1850s, 1870s when the Cosgroves acquired the property, because there's a lot of things that still remain the same. Maybe the insides of the homes have been updated and modernized, but the outside of the home is exactly the way it probably was in terms of its structure. I love wandering through these old homes and these old resorts and love hearing how one home may have been increased in size to accommodate a growing family, or how several homes were then acquired around that property to make it that much more accommodating to what its intention was to be at that time. There are over 100 of these historic markers throughout Key West, and I hope you have an opportunity as you wander the streets of Key West. Stop, look at these historic markers. They really have the ability to transport you back into the time in which that house was, why it was built, who lived there, the stories it surrounded. And I truly encourage you to start to explore some of the Key West history. The founding fathers and mothers of Key West have some very interesting stories, and I just love how their influence is still seen today. I am Michele with Fun in Key West, and as always on Mondays, we explore the historic side of Key West. It's one of my favorite things about Key West is just wandering through the streets and just being lost in the architecture and the way the city has kept its quaintness, and there's no large buildings, and I just love that about Key West. And I know you do too. If you're looking for other things to do, head over to FunInKeyWest.com. Over there, I've got all kinds of things that you can do. Check out what to do. And there's tours you can book directly on our site. Same price as the tour provider, because we partner with some amazing travel people in Key West, and we're able to bring those tours to you. Sign up for our newsletter. And it is the end of February. So guess what? March is just around the corner, and we will be starting to look into a new book for the book club. I will put a link in below to have you sign up for the book club, and you will be in the know of everything happening at the Fun in Key West book club. You guys have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.